What if I told you that two people, total strangers, were about to have their lives flipped upside down because of a single online game? Picture this, a late-night gaming session, the kind where you're so deep in the zone you forget the world exists, and suddenly, you're locked in a heated battle with someone who's just as good as you. Maybe even better. That's where our story starts, with two fierce rivals who don't even know each other's real names, let alone that they're about to meet in the most unexpected way. You're probably wondering, who are these people? What happens when their virtual rivalry crashes into the real world? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're gonna get answers that'll blow your mind. And trust me, you won't see them coming. This isn't just another gaming story. It's a roller coaster of emotions, surprises, and that heart-pounding moment when two worlds collide. So grab your snacks, get comfy, and let's dive into the wild ride of he was her online gaming rival, until they met in real life. Now, let's set the stage. Imagine you're up at 2 a.m., your room lit only by the glow of your screen, and you're in the middle of an intense match in your favorite battle royale game. Maybe it's Fortnite, maybe it's Call of Duty. Doesn't matter because you know that feeling when you're totally in sync, dodging shots, landing hits, and trash-talking in the chat. That's exactly where we find Sarah, our first main character. She's 24, lives in a small apartment in Chicago, and she's got this fiery passion for gaming that's been her escape ever since she was a kid. Sarah's not just good. She's really good, the kind of player who climbs leaderboards and makes opponents rage quit. But there's one player, this mysterious shadow striker, who keeps showing up in her lobbies, matching her move for move, always pushing her to the edge. Every time she sees that username pop up, her heart races. Not just because of the competition, but because there's something about their battles that feels personal. You ever had that moment when you're gaming, and it's like you and your rival are speaking a language no one else gets? That's Sarah and Shadow Striker. Night after night, they're trading wins, typing quick jabs in the chat, and building this weird, unspoken connection through their screens. You're probably thinking, okay, so they're gaming rivals, big deal. But here's where it gets juicy. What if I told you Sarah has no idea who Shadow Striker really is, and that their next encounter is going to change everything? Let's talk about you for a second. Yeah, you watching this right now. I bet you've had a moment in your life where you connected with someone online. Maybe a friend, maybe a rival, maybe even a crush. There's something magical about those connections, right? They feel safe behind a screen, like you can be your real self without all the awkwardness of real life. But what happens when that online world starts bleeding into reality? That's the question at the heart of this story, and it's why you're gonna want to keep watching. Sarah's story isn't just about gaming. It's about trust, identity, and the crazy things that happen when you step out from behind the keyboard. I'm not gonna lie, this video is packed with twists, and I'm dying to spill them all right now, but I want you to feel the same rush Sarah does when everything starts to unravel. You're not just watching a story, you're living it with her, feeling her adrenaline, her confusion, her excitement. And don't worry, I'm not gonna leave you hanging without answers. By the time this video ends, you'll know exactly what happens when Sarah and Shadow Striker's worlds collide. And I promise it's gonna be worth it. So, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's keep going, because we're just getting started. Now, let's meet the other half of this rivalry. Shadow Striker. We don't know much about him yet, and that's on purpose. Part of the fun is peeling back the layers of this mystery. What we do know is that he's just as obsessed with gaming as Sarah. Maybe even more. He's got this knack for strategy, always one step ahead, like he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Behind the username, though, is a real person with their own life, their own struggles, their own reasons for diving into these late-night matches. Sarah's been trying to figure him out for months, piecing together clues from their chats. Little things like the way he types GG after a match or how he always picks the same sniper loadout. She's even started imagining what he's like in real life. Is he some cocky college kid? A quiet loner? Maybe he's halfway across the world, or, crazier thought, maybe he's closer than she thinks. You're probably starting to feel it, aren't you? That itch to know more, to see where this is going. That's exactly how Sarah feels every time she logs on, wondering if tonight's the night she'll finally outplay Shadow Striker or learn something new about him. But what she doesn't know, and what you're about to find out, is that their rivalry is about to spill over into the real world in a way neither of them could have predicted. Here's where I want to get real with you. Stories like this hit home because they're not just about gaming, they're about us. You've probably had moments where you felt like you were hiding behind a username, letting out a side of yourself you don't always show in real life. Maybe you're bold in the chat but shy in person, or maybe you've got a rival out there who brings out your competitive side. That's what makes Sarah and Shadow Striker's story so relatable. They're not just characters, they're people with hopes, fears and secrets, just like you. And when their paths cross outside the game, it's not just about who's got the better aim. It's about what happens when two people who've only known each other through pixels suddenly have to face the truth. I'm not gonna spoil it here, but let's just say their first meeting isn't what either of them expects. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna gasp, and you might even tear up a little, because this story's got heart. I want you to stick with me, not just because the plot's wild, but because by the end, you're gonna feel like you've been on this journey with Sarah and Shadow Striker. You're gonna want to know, do they stay rivals? Do they become friends? Or is there something even bigger waiting for them? Alright, let's crank up the tension. Sarah's been invited to a local gaming tournament, her first big in-person event. She's nervous but pumped, ready to show off her skills and maybe even make some new friends. The whole time, she's got Shadow Striker in the back of her mind, wondering if he'd ever show up to something like this. She's never seen his face, never heard his voice, but their rivalry feels so real, like he's someone she's known forever. The tournament's buzzing with energy. Crowds cheering, screens flashing, controllers clicking. Sarah's in her element, racking up wins, feeling like nothing can stop her. But then, during a break, she overhears someone nearby talking about a match they played last night. And they mention her username. Her heart skips a beat. Could it be? Is Shadow Striker here, in this very room? She starts scanning the crowd, her palms sweaty, her mind racing with possibilities. What does he look like? What's he like in person? And most importantly, what's gonna happen when they finally come face to face? You're feeling that suspense, aren't you? That moment where everything's about to change. Stands there, frozen, her eyes locked on Jake. Mia's new crush, the guy she was so sure was Shadow Striker just seconds ago. The crowd's roaring, the next match is being announced, and the air's thick with the kind of esports highlights energy that'd go viral on YouTube under Gaming Moments 2025. But for Sarah, everything's moving in slow motion. Mia's beaming, oblivious to the storm in Sarah's head, chattering about how she and Jake hit it off over coffee. Jake's smiling, polite, but there's something in his eyes, a flicker of recognition when he looks at Sarah, that makes her stomach lurch. Is he Shadow Striker? The guy she spent months battling, bantering with, maybe even secretly admiring? Or is her mind playing tricks, turning a random coincidence into a plot twist moment? She's clutching her phone, the message from Shadow Striker. You're better than that. Why'd you choke? Burning in her mind. It's so personal, so him, and the timing's too perfect for it to be anyone else. Sarah's heart is screaming to confront Jake right there, to demand answers, but Mia's so happy, and the last thing she wants is to ruin her friend's moment. You've been there, haven't you? That moment when you're standing on the edge of the truth, torn between diving in and holding back? That's Sarah right now, and you're about to see how this collision of rivalry, friendship, and secrets explodes into a climax that'll leave you floored. Sarah takes a deep breath and decides to play it cool, for now. She forces a smile, exchanges awkward small talk with Jake, and excuses herself to prep for her next match. But her mind's a mess, replaying every detail. Jake's wristband, his phone, that look he gave her. She's back at her station, the tournament's final rounds looming, and the stakes couldn't be higher. A win here could mean a sponsor deal, a real shot at going pro, the kind of gaming motivation story that'd inspire her Twitch followers. But all she can think about is Shadow Striker. She checks her phone again, hoping for another message, some clue to confirm or debunk her suspicions. Nothing. The match starts, and Sarah's playing on autopilot. Her reflexes sharp but her focus split. The crowd's hyped, her streams blowing up with clutch moment comments, but she's scanning the sidelines, searching for Jake. That's when she sees him, standing near Mia, watching her match with an intensity that's unmistakable. Her heart skips a beat, and in that split second, she misses a shot, costing her the round. The crowd groans, but Sarah's barely hearing them. She's locked onto Jake, and when their eyes meet again, he doesn't look away. It's like a silent challenge, straight out of their late-night lobbies, and she knows, he's Shadow Striker. The realization hits like a story-time bombshell, and Sarah's not just playing for the tournament now. She's playing to prove something to him, to herself, to everyone who's ever doubted her. You're feeling that rush, right? That moment when the pieces snap together, and you're dying to see what happens next? The match ends in a tiebreaker, and Sarah pulls through with a move so slick it's trending on X as Starblaze's epic comeback, before the tournament's even over. She's exhausted, exhilarated, and determined to get answers. As the crowd cheers, she steps away from her station and heads straight for Jake, who's still with Mia. This is it, the climax, the face-to-face she's been chasing. She doesn't care about the cameras, the tournament highlights clips, or the fact that Mia's right there. "Are you Shadow Striker?" she blurts out, her voice steady despite the chaos in her chest. The question hangs in the air, and for a moment, everything stops. Jake's smile fades, replaced by a look of surprise, then something softer, almost like relief. Mia's confused, glancing between them, but Jake nods slowly. "Yeah, Sarah. That's me." The confession is quiet, but it hits like a thunderclap. Sarah's mind reels. She was right, but now what? She spent months building this rivalry, imagining Shadow Striker as some larger-than-life figure, and here he is, just a guy, standing next to her best friend. Mia's jaw drops, piecing it together, and starts peppering Jake with questions, but Sarah's too stunned to speak. You ever meet someone you've only known online, and it's like meeting a stranger and a friend all at once? That's the whirlwind Sarah's caught in, and it's about to get even wilder. Before Sarah can process it, Jake pulls her aside, away from Mia and the crowd. He's nervous now, rubbing the back of his neck, and starts explaining. He's been a fan of her streams for ages, long before they started matching in lobbies. He never meant to hide who he was. He just didn't know how to tell her without it being weird. "I saw you play, and I wanted to test myself against the best," he says. Then it became more than that. Sarah's heart's doing somersaults, because there's a warmth in his voice that's new, different from their snarky chats. She's seeing Jake, not just Shadow Striker, for the first time, and it's messing with her. Was their rivalry just a game, or was there always something deeper? Mia, meanwhile, is having her own romance storytime crisis, realizing her crush is Sarah's rival. She's not mad, just thrown, and she pulls Sarah aside to check in, making sure her friend's okay. The subplot wraps up with Mia deciding to give Jake a chance, but only if Sarah's cool with it. Sarah nods, still dazed, and the three of them share a laugh, easing the tension. It's a friendship goals moment, the kind that'd rack up likes on a wholesome gaming video, but Sarah's still got one question. Where do she and Jake go from here? The tournament's winding down, her shot at a sponsor's looking good, and she's finally met her rival. Everything's falling into place, until the final twist hits. Just as Sarah's about to head back to the main stage for the awards, her phone buzzes with another message from Shadow Striker's account. Her blood runs cold, because Jake's standing right next to her, not touching his phone. The message reads, "You're still my favorite opponent. Let's run it back sometime." Sarah's breath catches, and she shows Jake, whose face goes pale. "That's not me," he stammers. "I haven't messaged you since earlier." The realization crashes over them like a plot twist clip that'd dominate YouTube's trending page. Someone else has access to Shadow Striker's account. Or maybe Jake's not the only Shadow Striker. The tournament's ending, the crowd's cheering, but Sarah's world is spinning again. Was Jake really her rival, or is there another player out there, pulling strings? The mystery's unresolved, leaving just enough intrigue to keep you hooked. Sarah and Jake exchange a look, a mix of rivalry and something new, maybe even trust. They're not enemies anymore, but they're not quite friends either. Not yet. The video ends with Sarah reflecting on the day, her voiceover soft but strong. Gaming's not just about winning. It's about the people you meet, the battles you fight, and the stories you share. Whoever's out there, whoever you are, I'm ready for the next match. It's a life lessons moment, a takeaway that resonates, leaving you inspired and a little awestruck. You're not just watching a story. You're part of it, and that final twist? It's the kind of mind-blown ending that'll have you hitting replay, eager to dive back into Sarah's world. And you can't look away. Don't go anywhere, because the next part of this story is gonna drop a bombshell that'll leave you speechless. Keep watching to find out what happens when Sarah and Shadow Striker's rivalry takes a turn no one saw coming. Right where we left off, Sarah's standing in the middle of this buzzing gaming tournament in Chicago, her heart pounding like she's just sprinted a marathon. The air's thick with the smell of energy drinks and the hum of excited chatter, and she's trying to act cool, but her mind's a whirlwind. Did she really just hear someone mention her username, Starblaze, In a conversation about last night's match? The one where she narrowly beat Shadow Striker in a nail-biting 1v1? She's gripping her phone, scrolling through her game app, double-checking the lobby logs like they're gonna give her a clue about who this person could be. Around her, the tournament's in full swing. Players hunched over their setups, spectators hyping up every clutch play, and neon lights flashing across massive screens. It's the kind of scene you'd see trending on YouTube under epic gaming moments or esports highlights. But for Sarah, it's more than just a cool event. This is her chance to step out from behind her keyboard and prove she's not just a random gamer girl but a force to be reckoned with. Yet, that one overheard comment has her spooked. She's spent months battling Shadow Striker online, trading wins and witty banter in the chat, building this weirdly intense rivalry that feels like it's more than just a game. Now, the idea that he might be here, maybe watching her, maybe even standing a few feet away, is making her stomach do flips. You know that feeling when you're so close to something huge, but you're not sure if you're ready for it? That's Sarah right now, and you're about to see how this moment spirals into something way bigger than she ever expected. Let's rewind a bit to give you the full picture, because Sarah's story didn't start at this tournament. It's been building for years. Growing up in a quiet Chicago suburb, she was the kid who'd rather stay inside with her brother's old PlayStation than go to school dances. Gaming was her safe space, where she could be bold, fearless, even a little reckless, without worrying about fitting in. By the time she hit her 20s, she'd carved out a name for herself in the online gaming world, streaming her matches on Twitch under Starblaze, and racking up a small but loyal following. Her fans love her for her quick reflexes and her knack for roasting opponents in the chat without being toxic. Think gaming motivation vibes mixed with funny streamer moments. But even with her growing popularity, Sarah's got this nagging feeling she's still proving herself, especially in a gaming community where some dudes still act like girls can't hang. That's part of why her rivalry with Shadow Striker is so personal. He never treats her like just a girl gamer. He plays her like she's his equal, maybe even his better. Their matches are like a chess game, each one trying to outsmart the other, and their chats are this mix of playful shade and grudging respect. You ever had someone who pushes you to be better, even if they drive you up the wall? That's what Shadow Striker is to Sarah. But there's another layer here she's not admitting, not even to herself. She's curious about him. Not in a creepy way, but in that way you wonder about someone who seems to get you, even through a screen. And now, at this tournament, that curiosity's turning into something else. A mix of excitement and dread about what it'd be like to meet him for real. Meanwhile, let's shift gears and peek into Shadow Striker's world, because he's not just a faceless username either. We're still keeping his identity under wraps. Gotta keep that suspense cooking, but let's just say he's not what Sarah's picturing. He's 26, lives a few states away, and gaming's been his outlet for dealing with a life that hasn't always gone his way. Unlike Sarah, he's not big on streaming or chasing clout. He plays for the thrill, for those moments when everything else fades away, and it's just him, the game, and an opponent who can keep up. Sarah's that opponent, and he's just as hooked on their rivalry as she is. He's got a notebook, yeah, an actual paper one, where he jots down strategies for their matches, analyzing her playstyle like he's prepping for the esports world championship. To him, Starblaze isn't just another player. She's this puzzle he's determined to solve. But here's where it gets interesting. He's at the tournament too. Not because he planned to meet her, but because he's chasing his own goals, one's tied to a subplot we'll dig into later. He doesn't even know Starblaze is Sarah, or that she's here, but he's about to stumble into a moment that'll flip his world upside down. You're probably starting to feel the tension, right? Two people orbiting each other without knowing it, their paths about to crash in a way that's gonna spark some serious drama. Stick with me, because this is where the story starts to twist. Now, let's throw in a subplot to keep things spicy. Sarah's not at this tournament alone. She's got her best friend, Mia, tagging along for moral support. Mia's not a gamer. She's more into vlog squad content and day-in-the-life videos, but she's ride or die for Sarah. Mia's been hyping her up all day, filming clips for Sarah's Instagram and cracking jokes to keep her nerves in check. But Mia's got her own thing going on. She's been texting this guy she met on a dating app, someone who's supposedly at the tournament too. She's all giddy, telling Sarah about how he's totally her type, and how they're gonna meet up later. Sarah's happy for her, but she's also distracted, still scanning the crowd for anyone who might be Shadow Striker. What Sarah doesn't know, and what you're gonna love, is that Mia's mystery guy is tied to this story in a way that's gonna make your jaw drop. I'm not spilling the beans yet, But let's just say the universe has a funny way of weaving people's lives together. This subplot adds another layer of intrigue, because while Sarah's chasing her rival, Mia's chasing her own adventure, and both paths are about to collide in a way that'll have you glued to the screen. You ever watch a movie where you can feel the plot lines converging, and you're just waiting for that big whoa moment? That's what's coming, and it's gonna be worth it. Back to Sarah, because the tournament's heating up, and so is the mystery. She's advancing through the brackets, her matches trending on the event's livestream under gaming highlights and tournament clutch plays. But every time she finishes a game, she's stealing glances at the crowd, wondering if Shadow Striker's out there, maybe even playing in the tournament too. She's got this mental image of him, probably some dude in a hoodie with a cocky grin, but she's also second-guessing herself. What if he's not what she expects? What if meeting him ruins the magic of their rivalry? And then there's this other thought creeping in. What if he knows who she is? The idea sends a shiver down her spine, because while she's been open about her gaming persona online, she's always kept her real life private. The thought that Shadow Striker might have the upper hand, that he might be watching her right now, is both thrilling and terrifying. You're probably feeling that same mix of curiosity and nerves, wondering how this is all gonna play out. That's the beauty of this story. It's not just about the game, but about the people behind the screens, Let's crank the suspense up another notch. As Sarah's waiting for her next match, she notices a guy across the room, leaning against a wall, typing on his phone. He's got this focused look, like he's in the zone, and for a split second, their eyes meet. It's nothing major, just a glance, but it's enough to make her freeze. There's something about him, maybe the way he carries himself, confident but not showy, that reminds her of how she imagines Shadow Striker. She shakes it off, telling herself she's being paranoid, but then she sees him again later, talking to one of the tournament organizers, and he's wearing a wristband that marks him as a competitor. Her mind's racing now. Could this be him? Is she finally about to come face to face with her rival? Or is she just seeing what she wants to see, letting her imagination run wild? Meanwhile, Mia's off in her own world, sneaking away to meet her dating app guy, unaware that her little side quest is about to tangle with Sarah's story in a way that'll change everything. The tournament's reaching its peak, the crowd's hyped, and Sarah's about to step into a match that'll push her skills, and her heart, to the limit. You're not gonna believe what happens next, because just when you think you've got this story figured out, it's gonna throw you a curveball that'll leave you desperate for more. Keep watching, because the truth about Sarah and Shadow Striker is closer than ever, and it's gonna hit like a plot twist in a viral storytime video. The tournament's energy is electric now, like the final moments of a gaming highlights montage you'd see racking up views on YouTube. Sarah's standing at her station, controller in hand, her next match about to start, but her mind's not entirely on the game. That guy she spotted earlier, the one with the competitor wristband and the intense vibe, is still lingering in her thoughts. She's trying to focus, telling herself it's just her imagination running wild, but every time she catches a glimpse of him in the crowd, her pulse spikes. Could he really be Shadow Striker? The guy she spent months battling online, trading snarky comments and epic wins? The possibility is thrilling, but it's also messing with her head, because this tournament isn't just about bragging rights. It's her shot to prove she's a serious player, maybe even land a sponsor. The stakes are higher than ever, and the last thing she needs is a distraction. But as she loads into her match, the screen flashing with her username, Starblaze, something catches her eye on the opponent's profile. It's not Shadow Striker's name, but the playstyle feels eerily familiar. The same sniper loadout, the same calculated moves. Her chat's blowing up with clutch moment comments, and the crowd's roaring, but Sarah's gut is screaming that this isn't a coincidence. You know that feeling when you're so close to uncovering a secret, but you're not sure you're ready for the truth? That's where Sarah's at, and you're about to see how this moment explodes into a twist that'll leave you speechless. Let's zoom out for a second to keep you in the loop on Mia's subplot, because it's about to collide with Sarah's story in a way no one saw coming. Mia's been sneaking off to meet her dating app guy, giggling like she's in a Meet My Crush vlog. She's texting Sarah updates, saying this guy's even cuter in person and how they're grabbing coffee at a pop-up stand near the tournament. Sarah's barely reading the messages, too caught up in her match, but Mia's blissfully unaware of the storm brewing. Here's the kicker. Mia's guy isn't just some random dude. He's tied to the gaming scene, someone who knows more about Sarah's world than Mia realizes. We're not dropping his identity yet. Gotta keep that suspense simmering, but let's just say his presence at the tournament isn't a coincidence. Mia's all caught up in her romance storytime moment, snapping selfies and planning to drag him over to meet Sarah later. But she's got no clue that her little love story is about to throw a wrench into Sarah's rivalry with Shadow Striker. You're probably starting to sense it, aren't you? That tingling feeling when all the pieces of a story are about to snap together, but you're not quite sure how. That's the magic of this tale, and it's why you're going to want to keep watching to see how these threads tangle. Back to Sarah, because the match she's in is turning into a straight-up esports epic fail moment, or maybe a triumph, depending on how it plays out. Her opponent's playing like they've studied her every move, countering her strategies with a precision that's almost uncanny. The crowd's hyped, chanting her name, and her Twitch streams blowing up with gaming motivation emojis, but Sarah's starting to sweat. She's flashing back to her late-night battles with Shadow Striker, the way he always seemed to know what she'd do next. Halfway through the match, she takes a risky shot and wins a round, but then something weird happens. Her opponent types in the chat, "Nice try, Starblaze. Still got my number." It's not Shadow Striker's username, but the tone, the taunt, it's him. Or is it? Sarah's mind is racing, trying to figure out if this is Shadow Striker under a different account or someone else entirely. Maybe even a copycat trying to psych her out. The uncertainty's driving her nuts, and it's affecting her game. She fumbles a key move, and the crowd groans, the scoreboard tilting against her. You ever had that moment where you're so close to winning, but doubt creeps in and throws you off? That's Sarah right now, and it's setting the stage for a twist that's gonna flip this story on its head. Here's where things get wild. As Sarah's match ends in a heartbreaking loss, she's shaking it off, trying to regroup, when she gets a notification on her phone. It's a direct message from Shadow Striker himself, the first time he's ever messaged her outside a game lobby. Her heart stops as she opens it, expecting some kind of gloat or challenge. Instead, it's just one line. "You're better than that. Why'd you choke?" The message hits like a punch, not because it's mean, but because it's so personal, like he knows her, like he was watching her fumble in real time. She looks up, scanning the crowd again, and that's when she sees him. The guy from earlier, the one with the wristband. He's not looking at her, but he's holding his phone, typing something, and for a split second, she's convinced it's him. She starts walking toward him, her legs moving before her brain catches up, ready to confront him and finally put a face to her rival. But just as she's about to call out, Mia bursts through the crowd, dragging a guy by the hand, all smiles. "Sarah, meet Jake," she says, oblivious to the tension. Sarah freezes, because Jake, the guy Mia's been crushing on, is the same guy she thought was Shadow Striker. Her world tilts. Is Jake Shadow Striker? Or is this some crazy coincidence? And if he is, why didn't he say anything? The crowd's buzzing, the next match is about to start, and Sarah's standing there, caught between her best friend's excitement and a mystery that's just gotten 100 times messier. You're feeling that shock, right? That plot twist vibe that's trending all over YouTube? Don't touch that skip button, because this story's about to dive into a climax that'll have you yelling at the screen, desperate to know what happens when Sarah unravels the truth about Jake, Shadow Striker, and the secrets they're both hiding. The tournament hall feels like it's closing in on Sarah as she